We're going to cry, laugh, and love. And we're going to do it together. The Life with Lebang podcast. That is correct. It's another week, it's another morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world. You are at the right place at the right time because it is, of course, Life with Lebang, brought to you by cliffcentral.com. And it is a breezy day in Johannesburg. I must say, we just had snow recently, so everybody's still quite hyped up. There's a nice vibe in the air. It's a cold vibe, but it's a vibe nonetheless. So I hope you're snuggled up and I hope you're warm and cozy. Hopefully you're in front of a fireplace or a heater. Just do your thing and stay warm and stay comfortable. And I hope you're going to enjoy the next hour with myself, Lebang Kgosana. And you know what we do here by now on Life with Lebang. You know, we make sure that we bring you some really interesting guests who are doing some really good work so that they can spread their truth onto the show, and of course just to enlighten you on some of the things that are happening in the world. So I'm quite excited today because our guest is not only a rock star, he's also my neighbor. So I'm bringing it a little bit close to home this week, and it's just something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while. You know, growing up, a lot of us young brown kids don't see swimming pools. Only a few of us get exposed to swimming pools. And unfortunately, we also live in a world where there's a lot of people that lose their lives to drowning. And so this young, cool, and crazy man is going to tell us about why he has found a solution to that problem. So I'm very keen today to chat to Altaaf Adam. And I'm going to call him Altaaf because I kind of like that more than Adam. It's got a bit of a sexier ring to it because like Adam is so common. There's Adams everywhere. But how many Altaafs are there?
Not many.
Exactly. Altaaf, welcome to Life with Lebang. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your morning with us. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business leader. You know, you obviously have a lot of contributions over the years in the field of personal development and now aquatic sports. Now, this is where you're at. So firstly, hello. How you doing? You look nice and warm today.
Yeah, definitely warm.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that enjoys the cold.
Yeah.
That's why everything must be heated when I'm around.
We've got the aircon on, we've got the fans on, we've got everything on just to make sure that you're warm.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much.
So, first and foremost, like, we spoke a little bit a few days ago about why it is that you do what you do. And I thought it was just like such an important story. And, I wish for you to share with the person listening at home as far as like what motivated you to actually, begin your business. I mean, you're encouraging people to learn to swim. That is a big task. And now you've just put it upon yourself. So where did this grand idea begin?
So it really began with me swimming. I started learning to swim at age 5. I was one of the more fortunate brown people around at the time to start learning to swim at 5 years old. And at around 15, 16 years old, I was still, training with a club. And one Saturday morning, something happened to one of the instructors, and I was like, sure, I'll fill in. And that was my first class I taught. And surprisingly, I was like, wow, I actually enjoy this. This is super fun. It's even more fun than swimming is. The fact that I'm teaching people what I've learned over the years.
Yeah.
So that's really where it began. And I've been teaching for about 13 years now.
Sure.
So it's a long time.
That's quite a while.
Yeah.
That's quite a while. But it's also so nice that it seems like you found your passion. You found something that you enjoy, and it's not just a thing that you do. You're giving back. You're paying it forward to those who sadly have no cooking clue where to start. And it's a lifelong thing. It's like riding a bicycle. If you learn to swim once, then you can swim.
Got that skill forever, yes.
Exactly. So I kind of, if I lived in an ideal world, for me, everybody would know how to swim just because it's such an important thing. But sadly, not everyone does. So you established Aquanation Swimming Academy back in 2014, and I guess the mantra was every child is a swimmer, right? Which is so cool.
100%.
So how did Aquanation Swimming Academy, begin, and what do you think the gap that your organization actually fills really is?
Sure. So back in 2014, after roaming around, doing the things that I do, I just thought it's essential to form an organization,
Mm,
a banner under which I can carry out these activities and actually grow and build something.
mm,
Coupled with my entrepreneurial drive, just wanting to give back, but at the same time, we've got to survive.
sure, sure.
So I established Aquanation Swimming Academy. At that time, I had rented a pool, and it wasn't really about the money at that time.
Mm,
It was more about giving back. So most importantly was ensuring that swimming lessons was accessible and affordable.
mm.
And to this day, it's something that is a priority and a focus within our organization.
Yeah, yeah. And would you say that you have more kids or more adults swimming with you guys? Because if your business is primarily focused at children and getting kids to learn to swim when they're still young, I mean that makes total sense. But when I visited you guys a few days ago, it seemed like it was a little bit of a difference. Why do you think that's happening?
So, I mean, starting off the show, many brown people and people of color just did not have access in the past to these facilities,
Mm,
or didn't have the resources simply, to afford to go to swimming lessons. So, it came as an interesting change,
yeah.
because our focus was kids and every child a swimmer. And here we're now faced with adults.
Yeah. Every adult's a swimmer.
Tons, every adult is swimmer, but we're still seeing that in the younger age categories between 20 and about 35 years old.
Mm,
So it's not like older generation.
yeah.
They are adults, but you can clearly see it's people who haven't had that opportunity to go for swimming lessons,
Mm,
and now that they establishing themselves in the new South Africa, you
yes.
know they definitely want to and see the importance of learning to swim.
Yeah. Altaaf, what is that like having a grown adult coming into your swimming academy and saying, look, I want to learn to swim. I've never known how to swim. When we go to the beach with the family, I'm always scared or I have a fear of drowning. What is that like when a grown person comes to you and they say, please teach me how to swim? Like, what are some of the 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 characteristics of that kind of person that you can pick up and say, it's common amongst most adults? Because off the bat, when I think about it, a lot of adults probably aren't really willing to vocally admit that A, they don't know how to swim, and B, they want to learn. So what are some of the things that you've seen in most of the adults that come and want to learn to swim?
So I think the most hilarious thing for us is every adult that joins is suddenly going on an exotic holiday. We're going to some exotic place and we need to learn how to swim.
Yeah,
But I think it's everyone.
sure.
Everyone, when you're not comfortable with sharing your story, you kind of have a cover story ready
Yeah,
already.
yeah, yeah.
So often that's the type of things we told. Very rarely are we actually told upfront, look, I had a near drowning incident
Okay.
and I need to learn to swim.
Yeah.
But once they start with their lessons and they're comfortable, they share everything that we need to know, and it's
Yeah.
important information. If
Yeah.
as a child you had a near drowning experience, how we deal with you in the classes is
Mm,
completely different.
sure.
It's not just someone who hasn't had any experience.
Mm,
I mean, I've taught adults that had near drowning experiences to be proficient swimmers,
mm,
and one day they suddenly swallow water, and boom, that's someone who's completely forgotten how to swim.
sure.
So it's so important to know when people join, what their circumstances are.
Mm,
Have they been experienced to any near drowning or drowning incidents?
mm,
Sometimes it's not you yourself, but you witness someone else drown, and
yeah.
and that
Heish.
is devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, I was devastated personally. I think it was December last year in our neighborhood when
Mm,
all those drownings occurred.
mm,
That was just
mm.
devastating to see so many lives
Lost,
lost
yeah.
within a few minutes.
Mm,
And that is the motivation. That's what we want to be out there doing, educating people not only on learning to swim, but
yeah.
aspect of water safety.
Exactly. It almost sounds like there is a big psychological link to the concept of swimming, because like you're saying, even just hearing about a family that has maybe lost a child to drowning, or um a church group has just fallen into the river and they've all lost their lives. Just hearing about it kind of sparks something. If you're a normal person, you'll react to that and go, oh my word, it's scary, the thought of it. So what kind of psychological layer or aspect is there when it comes to swimming? Because a lot of it is all in the mind. You need to believe in yourself, and you need to know that, I can breathe, I can do this, or whatever the case is. But having been exposed to people drowning, or even maybe nearly drowning yourself, probably sets you back quite a bit in the in the swimming experience. So what are the kind of the psychological links involved in swimming and learning how to swim as a concept?
So I think definitely, people are afraid, and that's one of the things you don't want a swimmer to have in the pool is being afraid,
Sure.
because automatically your muscles tense up,
Mm,
and in an aquatic environment, that's not what you want. You want to
sure.
be as relaxed, as composed as possible.
Mm.
Often we hear people say, "Don't panic,"
Eish.
and the panic is what actually sets the fear. It's actually what causes you to go under.
Mm.
Activating all of those muscles,
Yeah.
just drawing you down
Yeah.
instead of just floating. Just
Yeah.
float, just chill
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important for us as instructors to build a relationship, to have that information, and
Mm.
ensure that the swimmer is forthcoming with that information as well.
Mm.
So
Mm.
over the years with experience, you just start picking up the traits, and automatically, without even the swimmer having to share, you can see, okay, you look like something happened,
Sure. Sure.
and you can
Yeah.
just sort of probe them in the right direction, where they will eventually share with you, look, this is what I've been exposed to,
Mm. Mm.
and this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's like a personal relationship, just like the relationship that you have with like your barber, or the lady that does your nails, or whatever the case is. This is your instructor. This is the person that you're trusting with your life. You're stepping into the water. For most people, it's the first time. So I kind of get that ongoing relationship vibe that's being built. So let's talk about the actual classes that you guys offer. How many kids are in a class? How many instructors, per class? And what have you guys found is the best way to teach that certain number of people? I mean, you've been instructing for over 13 years, so you know what you're talking about. And as a parent who's considering putting my children into a swimming school, I need to know these nitty gritty things. So, how many kids are in the class? I mean, are we filling up the pool with like 100 kids at a time, or what's the vibe like when the actual lessons begin for the kids?
Lebang, you're taking advantage here to know the ins and outs before you make it before you make a decision, eh? No, but it's great. It's very important for people to know and understand. So, because of the size of our pool, we are able to cater for about 12 kids
Okay.
at a time.
Yeah.
That's not 12 kids to an instructor. No.
Okay.
we keep we keep our classes small.
Nice.
So it's 4 kids or 4 adults to an instructor.
Okay.
It doesn't matter at what level that is. We keep our classes small, just ensuring it is fun. You know what I'm saying? Often people think, nah, I should go for private lessons, one on one
One
is
on
the best.
one. Yeah.
And over the years, what I've learned is often in groups, our swimmers learn better,
Okay.
no matter the age group, because you've got peer learning, you've got peer motivation, you've got your instructor that's there to give you additional support and guidance. And it's sufficient enough for your instructor to know exactly where you as a swimmer in that class is positioned.
Sure.
What are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and how to work on them. So it's good to have that group sessions, keeping it small. Like I said, one instructor for swimmers, but we work in different corners of the pool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we do try to maximize on our time as well.
Sure.
But just not at the cost of the quality of the lesson that's being
Of
delivered.
course, of course. It almost feels like, there is that personal touch, and there is that one on oneness. Even if you are in a group with other kids. You still get that like that attention. Because what I realized when I was watching some of your lessons happen, of which was so interesting for me, I noticed that the instructors are good at seeing at which level a different swimmer is at. So if there's one who's still early in his or her swimming journey, they'll focus more on that person, encourage them more, show them more. And then, like in all classes, you'll have your A students who are like choo, 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 just swimming, and you can see, oh, this is an expert. But even them, they're given just enough attention to go to the next level. But at the same time, they are given space to do it on their own. And they only the instructor only hops in when that swimmer needs help. So speaking of the instructors, what is the process of finding competent instructors who are the right instructors, who are there for the right reasons, and essentially who know what they're doing? Because these are some of the things that parents need to, consider and think about. Like my first thought is that I've got 3 daughters who are all under 3. I would be extremely comfortable having a woman instructor. Just like by the way. So what's the process of just making sure that you've got the right instructors? Where do you find these instructors, and how do you almost groom them and grow them to also understand the way that you work and how you prefer for them to be operating in your premises?
Sure. So, yeah, it's a process I hate. One of the things that I do that I absolutely do not enjoy doing. But it's something that has to be done, and it's something that's super important to me, because the instructor that's part of our team needs to be able to deliver the same service I would.
Sure.
The same level, the same quality. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm personally very picky when it comes to having people on my team.
Sure.
Just ensuring that they've got the right attitude, the passion is there,
Yeah.
and that they are skilled. There's also a number of processes that are put in place to ensure that the swimmer gets the absolute best.
Yeah.
So when it comes to kids swimming, we actually work with a structured program. So there's levels. We do evaluations twice a year. That's
Okay.
followed up by like galas and awards and things like that. So it's quite fun for kids. Adults tend to not want to be evaluated, but they just want to know what level I'm on. Just tell me without evaluating
Sure,
me.
sure.
So we don't actually run with that level system with adults.
Okay.
But with kids we do. And then there's lesson planning that goes into it as well. So prior to the actual class, your instructor actually completes a lesson plan.
Okay.
With your abilities, your weaknesses, what's being focused on for that lesson. So already, without necessarily having that paper in front of them, they already know what they're working with and what they need to do in the class that's coming up.
Okay.
So there's a lot of planning that goes into that. Definitely. I mean, I must agree with you. We've had this thing of female instructors come up a few times.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that we haven't really been able to find a good female candidate
Okay.
for swimming.
Okay.
It's often I've got this commitment, I've got my own kids, I need to do this, I need to do that. So finding someone that's really committed to the field, or lady that's really committed to the field of swimming is challenging. And hopefully that will change in time. But I think up to this point, our guys have been able to handle our clients quite well.
Okay.
In terms of teaching, in terms of comfort, our approach is also pretty much hands off.
Yeah.
We don't interact physically. There's no like physical contact between the instructors and the kids or the adults. Unless there's an absolute need to. Then yes, but predominantly it's all you as a swimmer.
Sure.
We're just there to help you and guide you and get you going on your swimming journey.
I love that. Like it's almost like throwing a baby into the water. And I've seen a lot of these videos online where like parents will take literally like newborn babies and just throw them into the pool, and then the baby will just kind of like shalalala, get their head up there and just kind of know how to swim. Do you think those things are true? Like I've never tried it myself, and I will never just throw my newborn child into the water and just hope they swim. But some parents live by it and say, "Oh, the kids adapt."
So babies do come from an aquatic environment.
Sure.
They're born from that, so there is an instinct in that. I wouldn't advise you just throwing your baby into the pool. Please don't. You need to know the temperature of that pool,
Mm,
and all of that, because it
mm.
can send the little baby into thermal shock.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? So if your baby, you lost your baby to cold water,
Yeah,
not to a
no.
drowning.
Like,
You
choose your
know,
battles.
so not advisable, but it is something that you should start doing with your kids. A lot of parents tend to avoid water. I mean, I've seen parents that don't want to even put their kids into a bath, and I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, yeah.
So keep that going at a young age.
Mm, mm,
Make sure your kid is exposed to water
mm,
in a safe manner, and
mm,
that's where it's so important, even as parents, to understand water safety.
mm,
It's
mm.
applicable in your own home, in a bathtub. It
Yes.
doesn't need to be a pool. It's not the sea. It's not a dam. It's your bathtub at home. That's where it
Sure,
starts. And
sure.
I think that's the important thing that we need to get across.
Speaking of babies, what is the right age for me to get my child into water? I mean, it, as you're saying, kids already come from an aquatic environment. They spent 9 months in my belly and there was like, like liquids in there. So it's all already like they know that life. But now, if I do have that fear of just throwing my kid in, what is the right age for a child to actually join a swimming academy and learn? I know you guys offer water babies, Todd swim, aqua aerobics, amongst other things. So there's a lot of different services and courses, I guess, that you guys offer. But what is the right age, would you say, for that a parent should bring their child into the academy?
So, starting from as early as 6 months is possible, but your kid ain't gonna be learning any faster.
Yeah.
If you're looking at swimming, um, swimming itself, we don't teach babies to swim. We teach
Mm,
them water safety. We teach them swimming. We teach them how to get to a wall. We teach them breathing.
mm,
How to turn and flip onto their backs if they fall into the pool. That's the type of things we're teaching at that age. We're not teaching swimming. It's
mm.
all focused on water safety. So should the child find themselves in a situation, they know how to get out,
Yeah.
or be okay at least for a few minutes, giving enough time for parents to realize, hey, my baby's gone. Let me go see where they are. So that's the type of things we teach at that age.
Okay.
It's not swimming at all. Babies don't have the coordination or the strength to
Mm,
swim. So it's a
mm.
lot of muscle memory exercises,
Yeah.
and breathing, floating, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about water safety because you keep mentioning it like every 2 minutes, like, yeah, water safety. What how can you unpack water safety for me in a very simple and practical manner so that I know even in my household I'm aware of it, not just a pool related thing, not just an ocean related thing when you're on holiday, but an everyday life thing. What are like the basic water safety things that I know or I should know as a parent um, when it comes to keeping my child safe?
So I think just being there to supervise, that's the first and most important thing. Over the years we've seen parents that put their babies in the bath, and I'm just gonna go and get and gone in two
Mm.
seconds.
Heish.
So supervision is super important
Mm,
at home,
mm,
wherever you are, me in the bath, in the pool, whatever it is. And then also, things like fencing off your pool area, making sure you teach your child that you cannot go there
mm,
without me, or
mm.
teach them that they cannot hop into a bath without me,
Yeah.
until they're at an age where now they're comfortable and it's safe and whatever it is. Then yeah, sure,
Yeah.
let them do what they need to do.
Yeah.
I think also importantly is, get them into an academy. There's nothing more essential than getting your kid into a swimming academy,
Mm,
because the skills that we teach them at that young ages, the water safety skills, the breathing, the floating, that's important.
mm,
That's what we teach them. It's the foundational aquatic that safety skill that you need in an
Mm,
aquatic environment.
mm.
So those are some of the practical things that you need to consider. Even if you don't want your kid to be the next Chad Leclerc,
Yeah, yeah.
get them into a swimming academy just to
Sure.
learn those basics.
So it almost seems like the younger the better. And then it's just like a process. Let them continue to grow, and then when they're able to learn the skills, then they can continue. Now let's talk aqua aerobics. Now this one really excited me, right? Because I have got the swimming skill, I've got the safety, I've been swimming for most of my life. But when you guys mentioned that you've got aqua aerobics, I was like, oh, what is that? And tell me more, because there was this one period in my life where I was like a gym bunny, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get fit. I'm gonna make sure that I've got the six pack, I've got this, I've got that, of which of course it never happened. But it was a nice idea. And my gym instructor at the time said, if you want to get like the best toning throughout your entire body from head to toe, get into some water, do laps every day. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I'll do it. And I never did. But when you mentioned that aqua aerobics is something that you offer, that really piqued my interest. So, what is aqua aerobics? How does it work? What are the benefits? And how soon can I sign up?
You can sign up right now, Lebang. But I think we need to just check if your swimming skills are on par.
Ish, it's been a while. It has been a while.
Okay, so aqua aerobics is a fitness class.
Okay.
It's focused on adults, no kids in that classes.
Mm,
15 years and older, that's the minimum requirement.
mm.
It's aerobics
Yeah.
in the water.
Oof.
It's a full body workout that's
Yeah.
45 minutes long. Takes you from a warm up to a peak and then a cool down. It's just a fun and amazing way to work out without feeling your workout.
Sure.
You feel it afterwards, that's for sure.
Hey, well, I gotta feel something.
but but it's just fun right there. And the water is buoyant, so you feel the resistance, but it's not as hectic as going and lifting weights.
Yeah.
So keeping your body buoyant in the water and doing those movements makes it seem like a breeze. It's
Mm,
just so you just flow so easily in those classes with the music in the background.
mm.
You're just lost in this little world. I joined the aqua aerobics classes personally. I'm just there to de-stress, not care about anything, and
Sure.
enjoy a workout.
Sure.
So I think it's a good way for muscle toning, improving your cardiovascular health, and also for injuries. I suffered with a swimmer's shoulder for years on end,
Mm.
and no matter how many chiropractors and biokineticists I seen, I couldn't get that sorted out.
Yeah,
Until
yeah.
I started with the aqua aerobics classes, and I was like, wow, I can swim again because my injury is completely gone.
Yeah.
So I think definitely for injuries, and we have so many people that come for aqua aerobics just simply because I missed a step and I kind of have this pain in my back,
Mm,
and
mm,
aqua helps me. I mean, we've got a lady that bakes, as a professional, and she's like, I have this tense shoulders. The
mm,
only reason she's still there with us, I mean, in fact, she's moved even further away from the academy,
mm.
and she's just comes for aqua aerobics. So
Wow.
the healing properties of water is just phenomenal. It's just something that you can't get anywhere else apart from the water.
Yeah. I'm very happy to hear that, because it kind of makes it sound way more fun. And the fact that there is that healing aspect, it sometimes you won't even know when you how bad a pain is and how ongoing it is, or even what it will become in the next few years. So it almost sounds to me like this is a nice way to just start to work on it, like just get into the groove.
100%, and it
Yeah.
improves your flexibility as well.
Yeah.
So your body just flows that much easier.
Sure.
And that's the amazing thing with aqua.
Oh, love it. Okay, so I need to sign up immediately after the show, because clearly that is where it's at. Let's talk a little bit about kids who have disabilities. It's common. We are. I mean, not all kids are the same, obviously, and some kids are born with, um, you know, some disabilities. And I like to believe that all kids, no matter how you're born or what you look like or what works or what doesn't work, you still should have access to everything that everybody has access to. So how do you cater to some kids who have disabilities, and how exactly do you focus, and allow this child to receive the same level of interaction and growth as far as their journey in learning how to swim as any other child?
So I think firstly it just depends on what the disability is. If
Okay.
it's something workable within a ordinary class, that's what we do.
Okay.
There's no difference between someone who's able and someone who's disabled. I think
Sure.
we're all disabled in some aspects or regards anyway.
That's right.
um, so I just think it just depends on the child's condition or even
Mm,
the adult's condition.
mm,
If it's someone that needs a little more attention, or we try and still pair them up, still have
okay.
two kids in a class, and for those type of classes, we have both our instructors um, working on just that class. So
Mm.
in case you need additional support, you've got an extra helping hand uh,
Sure.
right there. But still, peer learning still beneficial. Having a partner.
Mm,
Often what parents want to do is, no, my child needs to be in a special class, needs to be alone with the
mm,
instructor.
mm.
You're isolating your child. That's
Sure.
something that we just don't advise if it's not necessary.
Mm,
Unless it's absolutely necessary, yeah, sure.
mm.
If not, we pair them up or into a group class.
Yeah.
So that's the type of things we do. I mean, we've had kids who are autistic, and a whole range of various disabilities, physical and mental disabilities.
Yeah.
um Definitely, having someone in a class with someone on your level
Sure.
just means the learning is so much better. Just
Mm,
means there's someone relatable to you on your
mm.
level, on your situation, going through the same experience.
Sure.
So yeah, definitely cater for people with all disabilities. Academy is well equipped for people of all sorts of abilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's equipment galore.
Sure.
It's just how you make use of it.
Exactly, exactly. So, speaking of kids with disabilities, Altaf, is there room for these kids in aqua aerobics? I mean, we spoke a little bit about the healing properties that aqua aerobics classes offer. So, if ever there is a child that may not be able to do one or other thing, is the aqua aerobics class an option for them?
Not recommended. Just depending on ability again.
Yeah.
If it's someone that really needs a lot of attention, you're gonna feel left out. You want to be, or have this person in a class where they can relate to their peers,
Mm.
where I'm not being treated differently to the rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the type of things that we do and ensure, that our swimmers are comfortable.
Yeah.
They're not made to feel like, oh, because I'm brown, I'm different. You know
Sure.
what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's all about comfort.
Mm.
Uh, I wouldn't say that the traditional aqua aerobics class is advisable for them, but there are instances where we can do other sort of aquatic activities and exercises with people with
Yeah.
for people with
Yeah.
disabilities.
Okay. That is very good to know. Another thing I'm curious about is, like with the time of year that one comes and decides, you know what, I'm ready to learn to swim or I'm ready to put my kids in. I mean, we have to be honest, it is cold. It is freezing outside. What precautionary measures do you look at, especially in winter and some of the more colder seasons, just to ensure that, for example, a child's body temperature is maintained and isn't interrupted so they maybe don't catch flus and a cold and stuff like that? Because these are things that parents obviously worry about. I am more likely going to bring my child in September or in December when it's at its hottest because I don't know enough about the conditions, that are on the campus. So when is the best time to bring my child, or can I just bring my child like whenever?
You can't bring your child whenever. We've got to put them into a class.
Yes.
And you've got to have a class that's dedicated to them.
Yeah.
But you can bring them to join whenever.
Okay.
Since you're down the road, I think later today would be a
Hey.
good starting point.
Yeah.
Firstly, our pool temperature moves up automatically in winter.
Sure. Sure.
So from a 29-30 degree situation in summer, we move that up to about 33 degrees in winter.
Okay.
Everything's warm. The
Nice.
reception's warm. The
Nice.
changing areas are warm. Everything's nice and warm because when you come
Mm.
out of 30-degree weather and it's 17 degrees outside, it's cold.
Yeah.
We also encourage all of our swimmers to dress warmly when they leave the academy, ensuring that their core is kept nice and warm,
Mm.
making sure things like hair is dry before leaving or at least, covered up properly.
Yeah.
Very little things that are super important
Yeah.
that we just cannot um, shy away from. Um, we do have, and I just wonder sometimes where these people come from. People that hop out the pool and run straight to the car, and I'm like, you haven't even dried off and you're going out in this weather.
Yeah.
But people also find what works for them. Some people are just
Mm,
like, if I get straight to the car and get straight home,
mm.
I'm warm and I'm done with.
I'll be good to
I'll
go.
be good to go. So it's
Mm,
also about knowing your own body.
yeah.
Some of our kids we know from like previous years. Come winter, they're sick. Doesn't matter if they come for swimming or not. They're sick the whole of winter. So
Yeah.
I think the parents also now have realized now, for winter we're just not gonna take them in
Mm,
for swimming.
mm,
But surprisingly, we've had a good response this year for
yeah.
winter. We've had a lot more people join us in winter, and that's what we're looking forward to. I think the
Mm,
fact that our pool is indoors, it's heated, the weather elements don't affect our classes.
yeah.
That's just fantastic.
Oof, that sounds like such a vibe. Indoors, heated, sign me up. It's giving jacuzzi.
It,
Except now I'm going to be taught how to swim. But it sounds good.
if you join a class on a Saturday morning, it's literally a jacuzzi. The
Really.
entire pool is like misted up because it's so
Mm.
hot. It's just amazing.
Sounds like vibes. Like the more and more we talk, the more I realize that this aqua aerobics one is like a bit of a vibe. It's like a party-ish thing where you can work out, but like the energy's dope and people are chatty.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. So it's an absolute vibe just being in those classes. I mean, yeah, I know it's cold and no one wants to get up on a Saturday morning, but
Mm,
when you do, it's just like you just have such a good start to your weekend.
yeah.
It's just like, ah, this is amazing.
Whew, look, I'm sold. You are definitely convincing me, like, to seriously like consider it. Because like I know how my weekends go. I've got like a whole thing. Like, okay, Saturday I do this, Sunday I do this. I might have some room for aqua aerobics after all.
I'm sure you do. It's early enough to make sure there's room for it.
Nah. Nah, this is a vibe. So, I mean, not all situations are ideal. There's sometimes where, like you mentioned, there's some kids that just fall sick. That's their vibe. That's who they are, and there's nothing you can do about it, whether they're swimming or not. But has there ever been a situation where a child may have like caught a disease or a condition off of the lessons or because of the fact that they've participated in the lessons? How did you guys resolve that kind of situation? And most importantly, like how did you improve your service delivery? Because you learn from these situations and you have to get better so that if it happens again in future, you know exactly what to do. So has this ever been a case for you guys?
Thankfully, not. We haven't witnessed, or I haven't, yeah, at least in the 13 years and at the academy, we haven't witnessed anyone that has picked up any sort of diseases. I
Mm,
mean, we opened the academy here in Senton,
yeah.
uh, the tail end of COVID, and one of our things were like, how are we going to do this? There's
Yeah.
COVID happening,
Sure.
but we put in our precautionary measures, and we do our best that we can.
Mm,
So thankfully, nobody's picked up any sort of diseases or disabilities. We ensure that our water is filtered. We've got a double filtration process.
mm,
That the chemicals are balanced correctly.
mm.
These are all things that mitigate things like diseases going around.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Nah, that's cool. I think that makes sense. So, firstly, the fact that you guys started this business off the tail of COVID, like, whoa, you guys have played yourself. That is a huge, huge risk. And I'm sure, with your entrepreneurial background, there have been some risks that you took and some challenges that you faced. What would you say were some of the bigger challenges that you experienced, particularly more like in the beginning of the business?
I think before the business even existed was the construction.
Oh, of
That's a
course.
nightmare. Always
Yeah.
is a nightmare. But just getting around to the design of
Mm,
the pool,
mm.
making sure that the facilities can cater for our needs.
Yeah.
With builders and architects on the other end telling you something else, and you're like, no, this is what I need, and they
Mm,
just don't understand your vision. So I
mm.
think that was one of the more challenging things. Also, establishing a good, solid team. A team that's reliable, a team that's there, that understands and that's driven with the same passion.
Mm,
So I think that was a challenge
yeah,
for us initially. So I think, yeah. Apart from that, it's passion that drives us,
yeah.
and we overlook everything else in between.
Yeah. As long as the passion is there, I think like, you keep going and you keep tracking at it, especially when you know that you're doing something that's so important, at the end of the day. So I want to ask about the prices of swimming lessons. As a parent who has 5 little ones who all need to swim because I know how important it is for them, why are the costs of swimming lessons so high traditionally? It almost is a barrier for most parents. And this is partially why parents are like, as far as the budget goes, we're already struggling in this economy. Swimming lessons tend to not be at the top of that list. So traditionally, why are swimming lessons, at the cost that they are? And how have you guys made sure to almost like tackle that and not fall into the group of expensive swimming academies? Because there are many.
There are many, and I think what's important to realize is the cost behind running a swimming academy. Everyone
Mm,
just thinks, it's a pool, it's there anyway.
mm,
But it's electricity, it's water, it's chemicals, it's staff expenses and overheads. If you're renting a pool, it's rental. So
mm.
there's tons of overheads to factor into it.
Sure.
And at the end of it, you are running a business.
Mm, mm.
So a lot of swimming academies look at that there. What I found is also a lot of swimming academies are owned by business owners. So people
Aha.
who have no real passion for swimming itself,
Mm.
but rather, yeah, I'm looking at what I can gain at the end of the month. How much
Sure.
money can I put into my pocket?
Sure.
So that's the important thing there.
Mm.
Is as a parent also realize it's an entire business.
Yeah.
There's people's livelihoods dependent on swimming as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's the important thing to factor in. We've made swimming lessons as affordable as we possibly could.
Yeah.
Ensuring that my team uh, who are dependent on swimming for a living,
Yeah.
are compensated fairly.
Mm.
So that's the one thing. But we also want to get as many people as possible out there, to come in and learn to swim, learn this
Mm.
vital life skill.
Yeah.
It's not a by the way. It's not a cricket, it's not a rugby,
Sure.
it's not a soccer, it's a life skill.
Mm.
Because what you learn or what your child is taught is passed on to the next generation.
Mm.
And that,
Mm.
I mean, the first place I learned to swim was at home, not even at a swimming academy.
Mm.
So I think that's the important thing to set swimming apart from any other sporting code, is that
Yeah.
it is a life skill.
Yeah.
So our pricing is at 550 a month.
That's absolutely reasonable.
When you look at it, it's a little over $100 a lesson.
In the heart of Sanson.
In the
Yo.
heart of Centon,
Yeah.
centrally located from everywhere around in Joburg.
Mm, mm.
We have clients from Centurion, from the south of Joburg, that will come not only because of the price point, but because of the service we deliver.
Of course, of course. I'm very happy to hear that. It almost really sounds more and more like this is a real passion for you, and you're doing this for the right reasons, which is nice. You want to support a business that's not just a business trying to meet numbers. You want to support, a business person that is doing it for the right reasons and that is truly connected with the work that they're doing. So, I want to catch you off guard a little bit here, Altaf, and I want to challenge you because when I think about my kids, because I'm a working mother, the person that I've left responsible to look after my kids is my helper slash nanny slash cousin slash mom, whoever can come and help during that period. So I want to challenge Aquanation Swimming Academy today to come up with a swimming uh, lessons that are particularly focused on the help. So nannies, because when I'm not at home, the kids are outside playing in the yard. But my nanny can't swim at all. And I know this. She's told me to my face that, by the way, I can't swim. So if anything happens to the kids, it's a wrap. So I kind of want to challenge you today, to think like that. And maybe really how we can help parents is to help them with the safety element even when they aren't physically present, because honestly in most cases it is the nannies and the helpers that are looking after these kids, and they themselves don't know how to swim.
100%. Very valid point, and it's so important that people who employ, nannies, helpers, or even your cousin,
Mm,
you want to make sure the person that's looking after your kids has the skills they need.
exactly.
So one of the things that we are working on,
Mm.
you don't need to challenge us. One of the things we are working on is an introductory water safety course.
Okay.
So what does that look like? You don't need to be able to learn how to swim to go and save a kid who's fallen into the pool.
Okay.
So that's phase one, and then it will get more advanced. So it's a likely going to be a 3 day to 5 day sort of workshop style course
Yeah.
that people can enroll themselves into, and just to ensure that the person looking after their kids,
Mm,
or is responsible when you're not around,
mm.
is able to best solve the situation at end.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have time to sit and wait and call someone to assist you. It's in that very moment that you've got to act.
Sure, sure. And there's so many other benefits from knowing how to swim, and even just like having that little bit of knowledge as far as like the safety goes, the water safety, and it really makes you more confident about what you're doing. Because I like to believe that some of the biggest problems is that it's all in the mind. It's the mentality of a lot of people. People aren't willing to try new things because of how they perceive stuff. But if you perceive swimming as a beneficial activity that can boost your confidence, that you just need to learn once and then you can do forever and ever, and you can take it on so that you can teach your kids, if you view it as an opportunity to change, the cycle of your family and where you come from. If nobody in your family has ever known how to swim, you can be the first. Instead of viewing it as this big, overwhelming task that is just not important. There's a big education aspect in swimming as a concept that I believe needs to get done. And it almost sounds as though you are interested in that. So how have you involved, for example, like the schools in your teachings? Because schools more and more today, unfortunately aren't prioritizing swimming like they used to back in the day. So how important is the educational aspect in converting the mindset and how we reposition swimming in the minds of the potential swimmers?
So I think through our marketing and campaigning, we try to do as much education work behind that as possible.
Good,
One
good.
of the basic things in our campaigns is, swimming is an essential life skill.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
changing that concept that it's not something you go do casually. It's not something you
Mm,
do for fun.
mm,
That it is an important life skill. With schools, it's a bit challenging because your more elite schools have access to that type of facilities,
sure.
whereas the ones on the low end don't. And then
Mm,
who funds that? Who helps people out there? Um, while the passion still drives us, and it's something that we want to do. There are expenses that goes into it.
mm,
So we're definitely open to like various types of collaborations with other
mm,
entities and organizations, to come on board and support this essential life skill
mm.
training that's needed.
Yeah,
So we're talking anything from schools to communities. We want to be there.
good.
We want to educate as many people as we possibly can,
Yeah,
and ensure that they're empowered as well,
yeah.
in the process. I mean, going back to the incident with the church group, that was just like, I clearly remember the day because I was running out into
Mm,
the house, and
mm,
it literally, came down for like 10 minutes, but
mm.
that river was a flash flood,
It was
you
packed.
know
It was packed.
and that's scary. So church groups,
Mm,
educating them about water safety when you're going and
sure,
during your religious ceremonies. I
sure.
think that's so important. How
Mm,
many lives annually are lost by church groups?
exactly. Oh,
From a kid, I remember
mm,
always hearing about church groups and someone drowned, they're
mm,
looking for a body. So
mm.
I think that's so important.
I mean, church groups like to pray at the river with good reason. I mean, water is water. It's part of nature, and there is definitely something to be said about being that in close contact with the water and being able to just, you know, pray at the water. I get it, but definitely there's a safety element that exists that has been ignored for way too long. And it would be nice to see something get done about it. Even these very same church organizations themselves, they are the ones that need to consider the safety of their church members and say, you know what, it's all good and well that we may not be praying in a brick and mortar building, but if we are going to do our services on the river, there needs to be safety precautions at play, because it's just it's not cool. It's
No,
not cool.
it's not cool at all.
Mm-mm.
It's not cool. Going to a prayer and now you've lost family members, or
Yeah.
we must call our family members and say we've lost your,
Ish.
your siblings or your kids or your parents or
Mm,
whatever have been washed away. It's
yeah.
not something fun at all. So I think church leaders or religious leaders have the
Mm,
responsibility of
mm,
ensuring there's safety precautions and measurements,
mm.
ensuring that there is some education around water safety,
Sure. 100%.
before going to these aquatic environments.
100%. 100%. Sure. I mean, those are facts. If there's one thing I know is that is definitely the fact. So, Altaf, if somebody's listening and they're like, you're speaking to my heart. I've been putting it off for months or years. I need to sign up for these lessons. Where can they find you online? Where can they contact you directly? Get more information about the different courses that you offer and the different prices and all the sweet stuff we've been speaking about today.
So, head over to our website or Google search Aquanation Swimming Academy. Should link you up to us.
Yeah.
So www.aquanation.co.za. On Instagram at Aquanation_SA, and Facebook Aquanation Swimming Academy. And
Mm.
also pop us a WhatsApp 071
Okay, please say that number again slowly this time.
Okay, sorry.
You did like a talk show voice, like.
So it's 071
Mm,
980
mm.
8259.
Fantastic. Altaaf Adam, passionate entrepreneur and business leader, known for his exceptional contributions in the field of personal development, aquatic sports, and social impact. You're a busy guy. You're the managing director of Mindful Skills and Aquanation Swimming Academy. That is a lot going on. But what I love is that you're passionate about what you do, and it's important to you that you're doing the right thing. You're making a significant impact on the lives of people out there. So thank you for making the time to hang out with us today on Life with Lebang. And I just hope that if there's a parent out there listening, I hope you're being challenged today to take this seriously. We see stories every other month in the news that, oh, such and such a celebrity's lost their child to drowning. Or, oh, it could be somebody in your neighborhood, somebody in your community, just somebody that you know. And water safety is a place to start. Just at least having that simple knowledge of what do I do in this situation. At least try that out. And then you can take it a step further and now learn the swimming and watching your child learn that skill, and then you eventually get awarded for it as well. And if the child is good enough, then they can get into it professionally. I mean, the world is your oyster.
100%.
So thank you so much, Alta, for making the time to hang out with us. It was nice chilling with you and chatting to you outside of your home and in my home now and in my studio. So we need to see you again soon,
Thank you so much, Lebang. It was awesome hanging out with you this morning.
Thank you.
And yeah, definitely looking to connect.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. We'll do like a recap, like what we've learned in the past year type thing, or how many more people have come and joined your academy. I mean, it's always nice to do a nice review and look back. So thank you, most importantly, at home, for taking the time to hang out with Life with Lebang, which is me, Lebang Kgosana, and our guest for today. We will see you same time, same place next week. And remember that whatever it is that you learn here, it's so that you can get better and improve and rewrite your family's history. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Go out there and be great. We're going to cry, laugh, and love. And we're going to do it together. The Life with Lebang podcast.